I should have known something was off when she started using words like synergy and vertical scaling over breakfast. It wasn't the corporate buzzword salad that got me. Not really, it was the tone. Like she was rehearsing, saying things out loud just to see how they'd land. I watched her stir almond milk into her coffee like she always does, perfect nails tapping the ceramic mug, and thought, this sounds scripted. Seattle Marketing Summit, she said. I still on her phone. 3 days. Should be exciting. Lot of growth leaders attending. Growth leaders. Jesus. We've been married 7 years. Long enough to stop pretending we're interesting to each other, but not long enough to stop noticing when something shifts. And this? This was a shift. New perfume. New luggage. New blazer that still had the Nordstrom tag swinging under the collar like it was too proud to hide. She never buys blazers. Casual Fridays were practically a religion in our house. Seattle, huh? I said, sipping my own coffee, which I make like tar and drink like punishment. What hotel? She gave me a glance that was just one beat too long. Not sure yet. The company booked it. Ah, must be nice. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I'd seen that smile before. Usually when she was talking to the neighbor's dog or a telemarketer. Polite. Hollow. Preoccupied. I let it go. That night, I checked her calendar. She doesn't know her iCloud still syncs to the shared tablet we keep in the kitchen. Most of the time it's used to play Spotify playlists and order groceries. But tonight, it showed me something far more interesting. Seattle Marketing Summit, June 8th to June 10th, Westin Hotel. Except, there was no Seattle Marketing Summit. I Googled it. I checked LinkedIn Events, Eventbrite, her company's internal blog. Nothing. The Westin Hotel was real, sure. She even had a dummy email confirmation from a fake sender. Sloppy work, really. You'd think a woman who spent 5 years climbing the ranks at a tech firm could forge a better itinerary. So I did what any normal, loving husband with a few trust issues and a minor vendetta would do. I got creative. See, I'm a software engineer by trade. Not the genius hacker type. More like the build APIs and fix broken buttons on e-commerce sites kind of guy. But I know my way around a tech stack. And a few months ago, we both installed a home security app that required mutual location sharing for emergencies. She never turned hers off. So I wrote a shell company. Fake ride-hailing startup. ZYFT. It sounded dumb enough to be real. Made a website, threw up some terms of service, built a dummy admin dashboard that could monitor driver locations. Then I spoofed an app on my own phone to look like ZYFT driver. Gave myself access to her GPS location without alerting her. Then I waited. The morning of her trip, she kissed me goodbye like a woman who thought she had the upper hand. She even gave me that soft, sentimental look people give toddlers when they leave them with babysitters. You'll be fine, sweetheart. Daddy will be back soon. She wheeled her brand new away luggage to the rideshare pickup spot at 7:43 a.m., called a Lyft, and I watched her move in real time from our apartment complex to the airport. She landed in Seattle just after 11. Checked into the Westin by noon. Room 928. I know because I called pretending to be from front desk IT support and asked if she'd had any trouble connecting to the Wi-Fi. They confirmed the room number before transferring me. I booked room 931 under the name Carter Walsh. Had to grow a beard for the fake ID, but it worked. Cash deposit, burner phone, prepaid card. The works. What happened next? Nothing. Not right away. That first night, she stayed in. Ordered room service. Watched Netflix. Her phone location didn't move more than 30 feet. I thought, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a real summit, just super secret. Maybe she's just catching up on rest. Then the second night happened. At exactly 7:12 p.m., her moved. She left the hotel in a black dress that wasn't packed when she left our place. New heels. Hair up. No purse, just a clutch. She got into a car that wasn't rideshare. A Lexus. License plate scanned by the hotel valet's security cam. I had access. I'd made a friend. I followed her to a restaurant 2 blocks over. Fancy. Candlelit. The kind of place you go when you want your steak rare and your conversations even rarer. She sat at a table with a woman. I stood across the street with a pair of binoculars like some 1940s private eye and watched them laugh. Lean in close. Touch hands. Whisper. Kiss. That was the moment everything snapped into focus. Not just the affair, but the nature of it. The boss. The late-night Slack messages. The sudden promotions. The mysterious weekend conferences. It wasn't just betrayal, it was professional leverage. And she thought I was too stupid to connect the dots. So I made a plan. I spent the rest of that night prepping. I rented a conference hall near the hotel, booked a video crew, hired a caterer, sent fake invites to her team under the guise of a career milestone celebration, designed a sleek slideshow. Her journey in tech, I called it. Meanwhile, I watched her location ping back to the Westin. Room 928. Lights off by midnight. She had no idea what was coming. The next night would be her last conference dinner, and I'd be the one picking her up. After all, what kind of husband doesn't support his wife's career? Next time, I'll tell you about the ride, the awkward small talk, the tension, and how it all came crashing down in a room full of colleagues and family. But for now, let her sleep. Tomorrow's a big day. You ever watch someone lie to your face while brushing their teeth? It's oddly poetic. They've got foam dribbling down their chin, mouth half full of mini chemicals, and still, somehow, they managed to sell you a complete load of crap with absolute composure. That's what she did the morning of day 3. The closing ceremonies of her so-called marketing summit. Standing there in the mirror, brushing away like she hadn't spent the last 2 nights with her boss's tongue halfway down her throat, she said, "It's been super productive. We even got to do a breakout session on voice branding." Voice branding. I said, "Wow, sounds exhausting," and sipped my coffee like I didn't have a team of AV guys loading up a live stream setup 2 blocks away. She gave me that innocent, wide-eyed expression women save for TSA agents and suspicious husbands. "I wish you could have come, babe. You would have loved the keynote." I nodded. "Next year, maybe." Her phone pinged. A text from MR. I knew it was her boss, Miranda Reyes. I'd seen the messages 2 nights prior thanks to the software I'd secretly installed on her device months ago when I was fixing our home network. Her passcode was her cat's birthday. Real secure. The texts were spicy. But more importantly, they were arrogant. "Can't wait to wreck you again tonight, face-blowing kiss, MR. But I'll be walking sideways tomorrow, face with ears of joy, my wife." It was like watching someone carve "idiot" into my forehead with a butter knife and laugh while doing it. I let her finish brushing. I let her pack her laptop and that same black clutch she brought on night 2. And then, when she called her ZYFT ride at 7:28 p.m., I pulled up in a brand new Chevy Malibu with a ZYFT sticker I printed from Staples and a fake rideshare license on the dash. She slid into the back seat, distracted, cheeks flushed with anticipation, not even looking at the driver. "Hi, could you take me to—" "I know where you're going," I said, as meeting hers in the rearview mirror. Dead silence. Her mouth opened, then closed. Her fingers clutched the edge of her clutch like it might turn into a parachute and eject her from the situation. "Hi, sweetheart," I said, shifting into drive. "Nice night for a date, huh?" She didn't say a word for the first 2 blocks. Just sat there, frozen, probably deciding whether to tuck and roll or wait this out. "Don't worry," I said. "I'm not here to yell. I'm not here to cry. No messy confrontation. Just thought you deserved a classy send-off." We hit a red light. I turned to look at her, face blank. "Was it good?" I asked. "Was she worth it?" She blinked, lips twitching. How long have you known?" "Oh, just long enough to put a few things together. The fake summit. The matching lingerie she sent you on Slack. The calendar invites that lead to nowhere. You know. The usual." Another beat of silence. Then she said, "This isn't what you think." I laughed. Harder than I should have. "Oh, you're gonna use that line? Really? Because unless I accidentally hallucinated a live stream of you 2 slow dancing in a private suite with champagne and a Bluetooth speaker playing Sod, then yes, it is exactly what I think." The car rolled to a stop outside a nondescript 2-story brick building with tinted windows. To anyone else, it looked like a small conference center. To her, it was just a detour. "We're not at the hotel," she said. "Nope," I replied, putting the car in park. "We're at your real event. Don't worry, you're the guest of honor." She hesitated. "I'm not going in there." I turned and handed her a small black envelope with gold lettering. Her name. Inside, a printed invite, celebrating women in leadership, honoring her name, an exclusive evening. Her eyes scanned the text. Her hands started to tremble. "You didn't," she whispered. "Oh, but I did," I said, stepping out and opening the door for her like some deranged gentleman. "Your team's already inside. So's your mom. And your dad. And your little cousin who thinks you're a role model. I think Miranda might even be fashionably late." She sat there for a second, stunned. Then, slowly, she stepped out of the car. I escorted her up the steps like it was prom night. Inside, the lights were low, the room packed. Caterers in black uniforms passed hors d'oeuvres to smiling coworkers. A projection screen looped her work photos, faux accolades, and a countdown timer ticking down from 60 seconds. I guided her to center stage. She looked around, faces she knew, loved, feared. Colleagues, family, old college roommates, her mentor from the firm. Then the countdown hit 0. The screen flickered. And then came the footage. First, screenshots of text messages. Intimate ones. Sloppy ones. The kind no boss should ever send a married subordinate. Then, photos of them dining. Holding hands. A timestamp still from the hotel hallway security cam. And then, because I'm nothing if not thorough, a short, 11-second clip of them kissing. Not PG-rated. Just enough to ruin careers. Gasps filled the room. One guy dropped his wine glass. Her mom audibly whispered, "Dear God." She turned to me, wide-eyed. Betrayed. Like I was the one who just set fire to her image and handed her the match. "You planned this," she said. I leaned in, whispered right in her ear. "Sure did. You were the project. I just executed." I left before the questions started. Walked out with the swagger of a man who no longer had anything to lose. Outside, I slipped off the ZYFT sticker, tossed it in a trash can, and drove off into the night. I didn't need to look back. The wreckage would speak for itself. And I had other things to do. Like deleting our shared Netflix account. The weirdest thing about watching your wife's life detonate in real time? It's not the gasps. It's not her mother screaming her full name like she just caught her shoplifting. It's not even the way the crowd goes from curious murmurs to frantic whispering in 30 seconds flat. No, the weirdest part is how quiet she gets. My wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, had always been a talker. Rapid fire. Words like bullets. If she stubbed her toe, I got a 5-minute TED talk about OSHA regulations. If a barista misspelled her name, we were launching a change.org petition. But on that stage, as her affair went viral in a room full of colleagues, clients, and blood relatives, silence. Just her mouth opening and closing like a fish stranded on a countertop. The room was a swirling tornado of disbelief. Some people actually clapped at first, thinking it was some edgy promotional video. Until the kissing clip dropped. Until the text messages filled the screen with their timestamped receipts. Until her boss's name, Miranda Reyes, showed up in a big, bold font with a company logo underneath. The legal department must have felt a disturbance in the force that night. I didn't stay to watch the fallout. I didn't need to. I'd already done the hard part. I'd orchestrated the betrayal ballet, cued the music, spotlighted the dancers, and bowed out before the final act. By the time I pulled into the hotel's underground parking garage, my phone had 12 missed calls. 5 from her. 4 from Miranda. 3 from a number I didn't recognize, probably HR. I let them all ring out. Put my phone on airplane mode. I needed peace. I needed silence. I needed to sit in a nondescript hotel room, pour a whiskey from the minibar, and watch their entire house of cards collapse from a safe emotional distance. I hadn't even kicked off my shoes before the first email hit my inbox. Subject line: urgent, private matter, event footage. It was from the company's general counsel. I opened it because I was curious how fast lawyers could type when they were sweating bullets. Dear Mr. Pierce, we are contacting you regarding an incident that occurred at a private company event on June 10th involving footage that may constitute a breach of privacy and internal codes of conduct. Blah, blah, blah. Translation: you nuked our VP of Marketing's career and possibly outed our diversity and inclusion star player. Please tell us you didn't record that illegally. I closed the email. Took another sip of whiskey. The footage wasn't illegal. I checked. Twice. Washington's one-party consent law meant that as long as one participant in a recorded conversation gave consent, it was fair game. And guess who gave consent? The hotel security team. When I handed them a signed waiver. God bless bribable night managers. Anyway, I wasn't worried about legal retaliation. They'd never take it to court. Too messy. Too public. No company wants to explain in a deposition how 2 of its top executives were playing tonsil hockey on company time in a conference suite paid for with shareholder money. And if they did come after me? Oh boy. I had backups. USB drives. Cloud folders. 2 flash drives mailed to in case of emergency friends. Try me, corporate America. I dare you. By midnight, the messages had shifted from damage control to desperation. Wife, what the hell did you do? Call me now. Wife, this is sick. You need help. Wife, my mom fainted. Are you happy? Wife, please. We need to talk. Wife, please. Wife, please. I stared at the last one. Something about that third, please, almost got me. Almost. But then I remembered night 2. That little head tilt she gave Miranda before they disappeared into the elevator. That smug, sultry smirk she wore like perfume. That's what killed any leftover feelings I had. She didn't look like someone in love. She looked like someone winning. And winners never think the game ends. Not until someone flips the board. The next morning, I left Seattle. Didn't even check out. Just left the key card on the nightstand and walked. Got to the rental car, turned on the ignition, and let the silence fill me like a drug. No drama. No music. Just the hum of a car engine and the quiet victory of a plan well executed. When I pulled into our driveway back home 12 hours later, the porch light was on. She was there, sitting on the steps like a ghost of herself. Hair tied back. No makeup. Hoodie and sweatpants, she looked like a freshman after finals week. She stood when I parked. Tried to smile. I didn't get out. She walked to the driver's side window and knocked. I cracked it just enough to breathe. Hey, she said, voice dry. I said nothing. I didn't know what else to do. My hotel kicked me out. HR put me on leave. My team, half of them won't speak to me. Miranda's gone. She resigned this morning. Still nothing. She put her hands on the roof of the car, leaned in. I deserve all of it. I know that now. But Jesus, you planned this for weeks, didn't you? I blinked. Months. Her eyes widened. I had a PI trail you for the first week. Got the hotel records, restaurant tabs, surveillance footage. Once I was sure, I started planning. Her breath caught. I didn't think you had it in you, she whispered. I finally opened the door and stepped out. She took a step back like I might hit her. I didn't. I never would. I just stood there, full of calm fury and nothing left to lose. You thought I was stupid, I said. You thought you could cheat, manipulate, lie, and still come home to a man who'd thank you for crumbs. Tears welled in her eyes. I didn't think you'd find out, she whispered. That's your problem, I said. You always think everyone around you is playing checkers while you're playing chess. I brushed past her. She grabbed my arm. Please, just tell me what happens now. I turned. Now, this is the part where most people would deliver a righteous speech. Tell her she ruined everything. Make her beg. Maybe cry a little. Slam a door. Cue the dramatic soundtrack. But me? I just smiled. I start over. Then I walked into the house and locked the door behind me. That night, I slept like a baby. Because revenge isn't a fantasy. It's strategy. And I hadn't even played my last move yet. She moved into a short-term rental 4 blocks away. I know this because I saw her car parked out front the morning after our little reunion on the porch. Same silver hybrid she always insisted was better for the environment, though she managed to log more miles on it cheating than most long-haul truckers do in a month. I didn't acknowledge her. Didn't wave. Just made my coffee like usual, watered the plant she always forgot about, and fed the dog that suddenly liked me more than her. Animals know. They always know. By the end of that week, I had officially filed for divorce. She didn't contest it. Not really. Oh, she tried a little performative flailing during the first Zoom mediation, tears, soft-spoken apologies, phrases like mutual accountability, and emotional neglect. But even her own lawyer kept looking down at his phone like he'd rather be anywhere else. The mediator asked if we were open to reconciliation. I said, sure, I'm open. Just as soon as I get a handwritten apology from her boss, a refund for the hotel suite, and a time machine that lets me erase the past 6 months. That got a chuckle from the lawyer. She didn't find it funny. The thing about public humiliation is, it never stays neatly contained. You think it ends in that one room, in that one moment? But no, embarrassment metastasizes. It spreads. People gossip. Screenshots circulate. Group chats combust. Suddenly the quiet VP with the sharp pantsuits is a punchline. I didn't need to spread it. The machine ran itself. Someone from her office leaked the footage. Not all of it. Just enough to ruin careers and reputations. A 5-second gif of her leaning in to kiss Miranda in a conference suite, captioned, "When synergy becomes seduction." It trended. Briefly. On corporate Twitter. Then on Reddit. She deactivated her LinkedIn. Put her Instagram on private. Her once daily posts about empowering female leadership in tech vanished overnight. She tried damage control, issued a hollow statement through the company's PR firm. Something about boundaries and navigating complex power dynamics. But it was too late. Miranda was already gone. No goodbye email. No farewell Zoom. Just poof. One minute she was a top executive, the next she was a cautionary tale HR would use in training modules. And my wife? She applied for early sabbatical, was denied, then put on probation, then let go. Restructuring, they called it, which is rich, considering how much of her structure had been built on lies. She tried calling me again that night, left a voicemail. Hey, it's me. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just want to talk. You don't have to say anything. I need to hear your voice. I miss you. I miss us. Please. I deleted it. Then I emptied the trash folder. Then I sat there in the dark and laughed. Because this was the part she never planned for. See, cheaters always assume they'll be the one who walks away. That when the cards fall, they'll be the one holding the last ace. They never imagine a world where their carefully curated life is methodically, surgically dismantled by the very person they underestimated. And dismantle it I did. Step 1 was the social circle. We had a tight-knit group of friends, brunches, hiking trips, game nights. She curated the vibe, picked the wine, played hostess like she was auditioning for a reality show. But here's what she didn't know. Most of them liked me more. I didn't need to convince anyone. Just showed them the footage. Didn't editorialize. Just let it play. The silence afterward always said more than I ever could. Invites stopped coming her way after that. Group chats were suddenly archived. Our friends needed time. One couple canceled their joint vacation with her. Another flat out blocked her. The isolation crept in like slow poison. Step 2 was the finances. She'd always handle the budget. Not because I couldn't, but because she liked control. Credit cards, banking apps, investments, she had it all on lockdown. So, I let her. For years. But I also kept paper trails, backups, and access logs. She forgot about the emergency fund I set up after the first time she mentioned separate checking accounts for autonomy. That little fund had grown. Quietly. A few thousand here. Some dividends there. Enough for me to lawyer up hard, move half the assets through my own LLC, and leave her with just the publicly visible joint accounts. She tried to contest it. Didn't work. My lawyer made hers look like a summer intern. I offered her the car, the dining set, and a severance-style cash payout that was exactly half of what she'd earned in bonuses from the company I just helped burn to the ground. She took it. Step 3? The family. Now, I'll admit, I wasn't sure how this one would go. Her parents always liked me, but they were loyal to their daughter. I expected some shade, maybe a tense phone call. Instead, her dad called me. Look, he said. I don't condone what you did. The event. The video. That was brutal. I know. But I can't blame you. I paused. Really? She lied to everyone, including us. Said the trip was for a leadership conference. Had her mother writing her stupid inspirational posts on Facebook while she was playing footsie with her boss. Silence. Then he said, you deserve better. If you ever need anything at all, you call me. I didn't know what to say. So I just said thanks. It wasn't forgiveness, but it felt close. And then, when I thought the storm had passed, it happened. The twist I didn't expect. One afternoon, I got a knock on the door. Middle of the day. I was in sweats, eating cereal out of a mug, watching reruns of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I opened the door, spoon still in my hand. There she was. No makeup. Puffy eyes. A stack of papers in her arms. Can I come in? She asked. No. She nodded. Expected that. I just wanted to give you this. She handed over the papers. I skimmed the top sheet. It was a folder labeled Statement of Truth. Inside, a notarized confession. Everything. The affair. The cover-up. The internal company violations. Her falsified expenses. Her manipulation of HR protocols. Even her attempts to coerce Miranda into keeping things quiet. All of it. Signed. Dated. Stamped. I don't expect you to care, she said. But if they try to come after you legally, or if they smear your name, I wanted you to have protection. I blinked. What's the catch? No catch. I stared at her. You trying to get into heaven or something? She smiled. Sad. Tired. Empty. Too late for that. Then she walked away. Didn't look back. I stood there for a full minute before closing the door. Because now I had something I didn't ask for. Something I didn't want. Leverage. And the final move? It wasn't mine anymore. Not yet. But trust me. It's coming. You'd think a notarized confession would be the final card in a stacked deck. That once someone's handed you the whole playbook, complete with signatures, timestamps, and legal stamps, the game would be over. But nah, that wasn't the end. That was just her trying to rewrite her legacy after I'd already published the final chapter. I didn't touch the envelope for 2 days. Left it on the kitchen counter next to the fruit bowl, right where she used to pretend we ate fresh produce. Every time I walked past, I thought about tossing it, burning it, scanning it, and uploading it to a Google Drive folder labeled, just in case. I went with option 3. Because the thing about leverage is, you don't use it right away. You let it sit, marinate. You let the other person wonder whether the axe is coming, or if you've decided to retire it altogether. That tension? That's power. And I wasn't ready to give that up just yet. Meanwhile, she went dark. No texts. No calls. No surprise drop-ins. It was eerie. Like the part in a horror movie where the monster disappears, and you know it's still out there, but now it's just waiting. And just when I thought maybe she'd finally accepted the New World Order, the invitation came. It arrived in a gold-trimmed envelope, addressed by hand. The kind of stationery people use when they want to feel important. Inside, a tasteful cream-colored card embossed with her initials, followed by 7 laughably pretentious words. You are cordially invited to brunch. That's right, brunch. Not an apology. Not a peace offering. A brunch. Apparently, disgrace hadn't dented her appetite. Below the heading, it listed the time, Sunday at 11, the venue, a boutique cafe downtown, and the dress code, smart casual. I stared at that line for a long time. Smart casual. From a woman who once wore 6-inch heels to a Zoom meeting. I didn't RSVP. Didn't reply at all. Just showed up. Because while she'd lost the plot, I still had a few pages to write. The cafe was one of those places where they serve cocktails with flowers in them and the waitstaff all look like failed influencers. The kind of place we used to go to when she wanted to feel like real adults, even though our bank account at the time said otherwise. She was already there, seated in a corner booth with her back to the window. Hair done. Red lipstick. The version of her that looked most like an apology wrapped in a pretty package. I walked in, nodded to the hostess, and slid into the booth across from her without saying a word. She smiled, too wide. I didn't think you'd come. I'm surprised you thought I wouldn't. She picked up her menu like we were just 2 old friends meeting for Eggs Benedict. I ordered black coffee. No food. She ordered the usual, as if this place hadn't banned her a year ago for arguing with a waiter about whether oat milk was scientifically healthier. When the waiter left, she folded her hands and leaned in. I've been doing a lot of thinking. I stayed quiet. I've been in therapy. 2 sessions a week. EMDR, if you've heard of it. I hadn't. Didn't care. I'm not asking for you to take me back, she said, and I almost laughed. That ship didn't just sail. It capsized, caught fire, and got turned into a Netflix documentary. I'm just trying to make peace with what I did, she continued. Trying to be better. I sipped my coffee. She sighed. You always did have a gift for silence. I let people talk, I said. They usually say more than they mean to. She looked down. Good. Let it burn. Then she did something I didn't expect. She pulled out a small velvet box, placed it on the table between us. Didn't open it. Just waited. I raised an eyebrow. She opened it. Inside was her wedding ring. Mine, too. I don't want to keep them, she said. Feels like theft. I didn't touch them. You know what I regret most? She asked. I said nothing. That you found out this way. I leaned back. That's what you regret? Not the cheating. Not the lying. Not the condescending speeches about how your job was demanding in ways I couldn't understand. Just that I caught you mid-affair instead of you telling me first. She hesitated. You always said you'd never forgive betrayal. And you took that as a challenge? No. I took it as a risk worth taking. There it was. The honesty. Not remorse. Just naked self-interest. That's the difference between us, I said. You think in risk, reward. I think in consequences. She nodded. And what are mine now? I looked at the box. The rings. You don't get to choose what kind of villain you are. That's up to the people who survived you. She swallowed hard. I have a job interview next week, she said quietly. I smiled. Where? A startup. Marketing lead. You put me down as a reference? She blinked. Would you? Oh, I'd love to, I said, sipping my coffee. Let me know when they call. She didn't laugh. When the check came, she reached for it. I let her pay. Call it interest. I walked out of that cafe lighter. Not happy. Not healed. Just aware. She wanted closure. I wanted clarity. And now I had both. But the final play? That came later. It was a Tuesday. Midday. I was at home, working through a backlog of client code when I got the email. Subject, reference request for, her name, marketing-led applicant. From CEO at skymoro.io. I clicked it. Read it twice. Then I replied, thank you for reaching out regarding her name. I'm happy to provide insight into her character and previous professional conduct. Attached, you'll find a detailed statement regarding her performance, her management style, and recent history involving ethical breaches that I believe are relevant to your team's culture and values. Attached was the confession. Redacted just enough to protect my own liability. Clean. Professional. Devastating. I hit send. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I didn't answer. Because some endings write themselves. And some people finally run out of rewrites. A month passed. That's how long it took for the dust to finally settle, for the drama to simmer down into background noise, for my name to stop circulating in whispered updates and digital grapevines. I'd started to forget what peace felt like, what a morning was like without tension, without plotting, without half my mental bandwidth being eaten up by betrayal logistics. But then, one Saturday, I woke up and realized something strange. I didn't feel anything. Not hate. Not guilt. Not triumph. Just nothing. Which, honestly, was better than anything I'd felt in years. The God, I love calling her that, never got the job. The CEO responded once after I sent the statement. Thank you. This was extremely helpful. That was it. Silence ever since. Her LinkedIn? Still empty. No updates. No new titles. No flurry of humble bragging posts about the next chapter. She was in professional purgatory, and I didn't lift a finger to pull her out. I started doing small things I'd put off for too long. Fixed the leaky sink. Got new tires. Went to therapy, not the kind where they ask you about your childhood, but the kind where someone quietly listens while you figure out your own answers. I told the therapist everything. She didn't flinch. Just said, sounds like you found your voice in a situation where most people would have drowned. Fair enough. Still, it wasn't closure I was chasing anymore. It was momentum, which is why I almost didn't go when I got the call. It came from a number I didn't recognize, and for some reason, maybe boredom, maybe instinct, I answered. Mr. Pierce. Speaking. This is Hannah Green. I'm the assistant managing editor at Cascade Profiles magazine. We're working on a feature about the culture of silence around workplace misconduct and romantic entanglements between executives and their subordinates. Okay. We came across the footage from the Seattle conference. I want to be very clear, we're not looking to exploit you. We'd just like to hear your side. You're not obligated to speak on the record. I almost laughed. Why me? Because you're the only one who didn't spin it. I paused. Let me think about it. She gave me her email. I thought about it for a week. Not because I wanted revenge. That part of me had already eaten its fill. But because the narrative was still hers. Publicly, anyway. She'd disappeared, but her old sympathizers, those who hadn't seen the full extent of what she'd done, still talked about her like some tragic figure. A fallen queen who lost everything because of one stupid, passionate mistake. They didn't know about the months of deception, the abuse of power, the trail of scorched earth manipulation she left behind. They didn't know what I knew. So, I wrote the piece. Not an exposé, not a vendetta, just the truth. I titled it, The Gift of Knowing. They ran it. Not front cover, but not buried either. Mid-spread, clean layout. One photo me, not smiling, just real. No theatrics. The article went semi-viral in the corporate space. Not explosive, but enough to reignite the conversation. Enough to make a few HR execs sweat. Enough for the comments to flood with stories just like mine, only most of them didn't get the revenge part. And that's when the email came. From Miranda. Subject, you win. That's all it said. 2 words. I didn't reply, but I did print it. Framed it. Hung it in the hallway where her art used to be. One day, I got a call from her mother. I hadn't blocked the number, hadn't had the heart. Are you happy now? She asked. Her voice wasn't angry. Just tired. No, I said. But I'm done. There was a long pause. Then she said, good. Click. A year later, I sold the house. Moved to a different city. Got a smaller place, something low maintenance. Started freelance consulting. Nothing too stressful. Just enough to keep the lights on and the brain ticking. No dating. No healing journey Instagram posts. Just me, a coffee mug, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing I'd walked through hell with my eyes open and came out the other side without begging anyone for closure. And then, just when I thought it was over, I got a package. No return address. Just a plain black box. Inside, a hardcover book. Title, You Don't Know Her Like I Do. Author, anonymous. I flipped through the first few pages. It wasn't fiction. It was her memoir. Or maybe a draft of it. The tone was exactly what I expected, grieving, wistful, self-serving. A curated blend of half-truths and conveniently edited omissions. But then, midway through the book, I hit the twist. A chapter titled, The Driver Who Knew. She wrote about the Uber ride, about realizing it was me behind the wheel, about the humiliation, the panic, the unraveling. She called it the moment she met the edge of herself. And she said this. It was the moment I stopped believing I was smarter than the people I loved. Because the person I betrayed didn't scream, didn't plead, didn't crumble. He orchestrated my downfall with such elegance, it made me realize I'd never really known him at all. That's when I laughed. Not a bitter laugh. Not victorious. Just entertained. She'd spent her whole life trying to be the architect of her own story. And in the end, she wrote mine. And handed it to me, wrapped in a box. A souvenir from the wreckage. A love letter disguised as confession. I put the book on a shelf. Then I walked outside, lit a cigarette I'd been saving since college, and stared at the sky like it owed me nothing. Because it didn't. And I didn't owe her forgiveness. Just the memory of the moment she realized I was the villain in her story, Al. Because she made me one. Roll credits. Subscribe to the channel